It's been a long time since I posted a video. I don't remember how long. I should probably check that. I'll throw up a picture right now. I'm gonna guess it's probably been like 9-10 months. Maybe it's been a year. Who knows? Anyway, I think it's finally time to post something. So I thought let's start with something, something unhinged people would do. So I introduced a driving tier list. So this is basically going to be an accurate tier list of how I would rate me and my friends' driving abilities. However, I'm not just going to call these people out by name. No. We have selected icons that best represent my friends. Enough where you might know who it is, you might not. It might be clear, it may not be clear. So, we will be talking about these people in the sense of the character, so as to not hurt any feelings. But if you do figure out who this character is, honestly, that's your fault for figuring it out. So, I say we start off the list. Monkey D. Luffy. We got a One Piece character up in here. Now, I've driven with Luffy way too many times to count. I've probably driven with Luffy nearly 100 times. And I gotta say, Luffy's a pretty damn good driver. Luffy was driving a pretty piece of shit car for a while. It almost blew up a couple times. But now, Luffy's got a pretty damn good car. And I trust him. I get in that car and I feel safe. So, Luffy's going in a, honestly, son of a bitch, you superb tier. Next up, we got the coconut, the classic coconut, everyone's most mediocre fruit. That's not a sentence. Anyway, coconut, pretty good driving. It started off scary when I first met coconut, but over the years, coconut's gotten slowly better. And while I may not like it as a fruit, I do feel safe when I'm in coconut's car. We're not talking like Luffy safe, but relatively safe. So what we are going to do, we're going to throw coconut in the A, that's pretty good tier. Now Chevron, everyone's least favorite big gas company. Record profits, they don't pay their employees that well, there's labor things, union things, it's a whole mess right now, and they have extremely overpriced gas. But I do trust Chevron's driving. Chevron's driving has been around since I was born, and it's pretty solid. The only thing keeping Chevron out of S tier is road rage. Road rage is something I happen to inherit from Chevron, and I don't think it's that bad of a thing, but I can look at it objectively and be like, that's not a good trait to have. So we're going to throw Chevron in an A, that's pretty good tier. Carrots. I'm not a fan of carrots, I'm going to be honest. I'm talking about the vegetable, not the supposed person behind the carrots. But carrots in general, haven't driven that much with carrots, I'm going to be honest. It's been maybe 2-3 times, so maybe a little bit more skewed in my views. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't great necessarily. There wasn't specific things that I saw where I was like, damn, this signifies a good driver, or this doesn't signify a good driver. So I'm going to throw this in the buckle up tier. Alright, next up we got D.Va from Overwatch. So I've only driven with D.Va. She's only driven me around the town, I want to say, similar to Carrot, maybe 2-3 times. But I think objectively, I felt less safe in D.Va's car based on D.Va's driving abilities. Now, she may pilot a giant multi-billion-dollar mech in the game Overwatch. But when D.Va pilots it, I think it's an Acura shitbox. It wasn't that great. I'm going to throw it at the bottom of buckle up tier. I think it's pretty solid, but nothing to write home about. Next up, we got Sora from Super Danganronpa Another 2. So we didn't throw in a character from the main Danganronpa games, we did it from a fan game, because I think this is objectively the best Danganronpa character in existence. So, Sora, I think this is hands down the best driver that we have out of all the available options, even the ones we haven't gone over yet. Never been in an accident, always feels safe, goes the speed limit, brakes appropriately, plays good music. Sora, all around, absolute best driver that we have available to us. Next we have the humble, well, you could call it humble, we call it bitch, but the humble natural 20. So when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, 20 is the best thing you can roll. It's considered a critical success. You can score critical hits, extra damage. Unfortunately, natural 20 is not a fantastic driver. It's a weird situation. I trust them to get in the car, but it's the epitome of recklessness, Like, I don't think I'm gonna die, but when I'm flying 80 miles down a residential street, you gotta get a little bit worried. So I think this is gonna be our first crap your pants if needed tier. Next up, we got the Blue Flag. So Blue Flag's another thing. I've driven with Blue Flag my entire life. I've got a lot of experience, so I know how this person drives. But this also throws up a new factor that we haven't brought up, is texting while driving and using your phone while driving. So Blue Flag, as of recent years, has not done it as much, but still, doing it at all, it definitely drops you down several tiers. So I would have said, 3 years ago would have been a don't get in the car. It still might be there, honestly. But for now, Blue Flag is going to throw at the very bottom of crap your pants if needed. Our next contender is the band Blink-182. I have a couple of their songs on my playlist. I don't think they're that great, but the person related to Blink-182, really likes their music. And honestly, I get it, like it's good music, but in terms of driving skills, I mentioned texting while driving when it came to Blue Flag. But this is a whole nother level. Blue Flag looked down at the phone but glanced back up. The few times I've driven with Blink-182, it was right in front of their face. So you could argue the angle was better, but like, damn, they did not stop looking at that phone. So I hate to do it. This is going to be our first don't get in the car tier. Next up, we have the beautiful, the legendary, the red-haired Smash Brother maiden, Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now this is another interesting case that we have, because while I love Pyra, and she's very attractive, and the person who this character associates with is a fantastic person, they've never driven me anywhere, and I cannot accurately assess their abilities. So another new spot on the tier list, we got This Person Drives. Alright, kind of an oddball here, we got the Declaration of Independence. So I've driven with the Declaration of Independence, you know, a good handful of times, maybe about 10 to 15. Honestly pretty solid, but I think this person could benefit from stepping on the brakes every now and then, though. It's a little scary when you're going downhill at, I think it was like 75 miles an hour, so pretty solid. I'm gonna put Declaration of Independence above Diva, but below Carrots. I feel like that's the appropriate spot. Next up, we got the collection of hair dye. You know, we got every color of the rainbow. Now, I think this is the only person on the list. Now, I've only driven with this person one time, but I think this is the most solid don't get in the car tier placement I could give throughout this entire list. When I think it was 2 a.m., going down the freeway, I think 120 miles an hour with the top up because it was a convertible, and I can't hear anything and I'm freezing my ass off and I think we're about to die. Yeah, that's probably the most scared I've been driving a car, because any second you could be thrown out of the car. So, also, just who goes 120 on a freeway? So yeah, that's I don't feel bad about that one. You are in don't get in the car tier. Finally, last, definitely not least, maybe close to least, but definitely not, Kratos from God of War. So I never played the original God of War games, but I recently just finished 2018 God of War. And much like the person Kratos represents, they are a fantastic piece of art. However, this does not translate perfectly to their driving capabilities. This is the one I'm going to have the hardest time placing, because I honestly think there's 4 tiers that are applicable. The only one I think that's keeping him out is the son of a bitch tier. It really depends on the day when you're driving with Kratos. Sometimes Kratos gets a little mad and decides to go 90 in a residential. Sometimes Kratos brakes appropriately and plays good music. So I think we're going to throw Kratos at the top of crap your pants if needed. But just know that Kratos could be anywhere in this tier list. Okay, here's the part where I fucked up. I literally forgot to include someone in this. So, welcome to Photoshop, where we added Yang from Ruby. The good thing about Yang, honestly, it was a little sketchy at first, I'm not gonna lie, but as I've come to drive with Yang more and more, honestly, I consider them a pretty solid driver. You know, maybe the occasional mistake, but honestly, I don't think it's too bad at all. So I think Yang, solid pick for the very bottom of A, that's pretty good tier. So that concludes my unhinged driving tier list video. Like I said, I don't know how long it's been since I made my last video, and this just popped into my head like a dream one day. So, you know, if you have any opinions on something that you may not be able to understand, please leave a comment. If not, shut your mouth, because I'm objectively right about this. I hope you all have a nice day. I hope you all learn how to drive better. I hope you all play good music on Spotify. And just know that at all times, if I'm in your car, I'm judging you harshly.